at all. I'm going to simply say, what up? Welcome back to classes. This is the Black History Month Artist Showcase. I'm the guy, John Alonzo. With me, of course, is
Danger Neff. You can start this. Start it off with take me. What's a song in baseball? Take me out to the ball.
Nah.
You can't start with that. It totally would have fit.
Because there's no soulful way to do that. Take me out to the ball game. You can't. It sounds weird. You know what I'm saying? So we're
just
good.
Sound like Fergie singing the national anthem.
Dude. I wanted to be there and just view everybody's face shit that weird high note. They're like,
when they immediately went to the NBA players, I felt so bad. Draymond Green tried so hard not to smile, but he knew how bad it was.
We have a special guest, my guy below, my dude Hollywood Kev from the Noise Podcast. What's up, bro? Welcome back to the show, man.
What's going on, man? It's been too long. How you living?
When's the last time you've been on the show? I can't remember the last episode you've been
on. About 15 months ago.
Oh, Dad's really good with numbers. Yeah. I'm gonna guess.
We're gonna go with that.
No, it's been a minute. It's definitely been a minute.
It's been a while.
The last time you were on, we still had the studio, and then COVID happened, and it was like all of our meetings, all beat meetings, were just done on Zoom or just via text or whatnot. So it's literally been a year since I've seen you, and let's talk about this hair for a second. So you got it all pulled back. How big does it get if you don't pull it back?
Well, no, it's a pretty big fro. I mean, the times that I've been around like Jay or Los, it hasn't even really been picked out or fully out there like that. I did this because I really don't like having a whole bunch of hair on my head. I can feel it. I just don't like it, but I wanted to get back to having long hair again. I used to have long hair, and then I cut it, so I kind of wanted to get back to it.
Most time when we booked to Kev and his hair's not fully froed out, it's like an effort that's trying to come out, but he just refuses to let it happen. It's not working.
You gotta let your soul glow. That's what's going on there. That's what you gotta do.
Man, they give Kev a jerry curl. I can't see Kev with a jerry curl. That's just
Nah. It looks too messy and wet.
You're too tall for a jerry curl. Kev, see you with a jerry curl is like a big ass wet umbrella. It doesn't make much sense to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good on all that.
How was your week, bro?
Who, myself or him?
Ovia, who wants to answer first?
Go, Kev.
Well, my week was a week. It was a busy week. Just I would say a lot of typing, if you will.
Hiking?
Yeah, it's been a week. Typing, yeah, typing.
Oh, hyping. Oh, well, you've been hiking?
Typing. T-Y.
Oh, typing. Oh.
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha. Dave, what's up?
Just trying to set up all of our new stuff that we kind of got going on, making sure that everything kind of runs smoothly. I watched the raw data and by the time the show comes out, one of our projects will be out, but doing some little critiquing and, some suggestions for our two new people who decided to join us. But other than that, it was relatively quiet. Obviously, this week is going to be much busier. Luckily, the weather has warmed up, so I can start taking the dog for a walk again.
Man, I worked out in the park today. It felt so good because the last week I've been in the gym. The weather feels like Cleveland outside. I'm like, where do we live?
It was ugly out there.
It snowed 2 days straight.
Yeah, it was something like that. Earlier,
if you want to call it that, but yeah.
Well, in some areas in Vegas, it was actual snow, snow that fell and stayed on the ground for some time.
Now, Kev, obviously with the noise, and there's a lot to talk about with the noise, but you got kind of this side project that you've been doing. Can you give us any information on that?
Yeah, well, it came out of COVID because that's where the process actually started. But been working on a book, man. I've been working on a book. It's definitely fantasy fiction. I'm into that type of thing. And I just been really, really working on it. Like we kind of talked about before, I had plans, like it was all drawn out to come out, or we're in February now. So at minimum to come out next month, the end of next month, if anything. But I got all the way to about a draft and a half, and I was like, yeah, I want to do something else. So I'm starting to do something else. And I can say that sometime this year it will be out. I can guarantee that.
Are we talking long form writing, short form, short stories, or is this like an actual novel?
No, this is because I actually do have a whole big process that I'm starting with this. Like this won't be the only one, if you will. I'm starting my own universe, if you will. Yeah, so it's not going to be like a Stephen King novel that lengthy or anything, but it's going to be it's not going to be a short form. It's going to, I guess you can say it's long form or medium form, if you will.
It's going to be the KSU, the Kevin Shaw universe.
Yeah. Something like that.
Where'd you get your inspiration for this idea?
Well, I think I've always wanted to write a book. Like always. I remember being a kid and something crazy could happen. Like, I'm going to write a book and it's going to be crazy because I couldn't believe the crazy stuff that had happened when I was younger. So I've always wanted to do it, but as of late, it's really just been watching different stuff and trying to understand that time period or what is actually going on in that moment, and reading different stuff, listening to different stuff, just inspirations from anything that's not COVID related.
Either is not COVID related.
Yeah, if it's not COVID related, that's where I'm getting it from.
You said a time period there. So is this set in the past or is it set kind of alternate universe or?
No. Well, yeah, it'd be an alternate universe because obviously it's not here. But no, not a time period. Although I do like period pieces type of movies or even books sometimes, but this one is not. I just like that if you're in a time period, whatever that would be, you kind of, for that duration of that movie or whatever, you're in that time period. You know what I mean? So I fell in love with that. But what I'm doing, no. Actually, cause yeah, I guess the first book, I guess I can drop that bombshell. The first book was kind of going to be dealing with a little bit of the monster. It was going to have like I don't know. Basically, the guy, he was an archaeologist. I'm mispronouncing that word. Going into the center of the earth to get this plant that's there that could potentially cure his daughter from cancer. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows about it. You know, he was put on by somebody to go do this. So he does this and all hell breaks loose because he broke an unknown rule. And I was just going to build off that. That was the first idea. The second idea I can't really say because I'm still working on it. But yeah, the first idea my goal for the first idea was immediately for you to fall in love with these characters, immediately see the tragedy and understand why these characters are doing what they're doing. And then from there shows all the ways that their decisions fuck things up.
Right.
Who's playing them in the movie?
I'm sorry?
Who's playing them in the movie?
I don't know. I haven't got that far.
All right, bet.
All right, bet.
Yeah, I haven't got that
far. So we can definitely expect that sometime this year.
The actual, not the one I explained, but the actual book. Yeah, you can expect that sometime this year. And it's a complete 180, I guess, from what I just explained.
No, and that's fine. Books take a long time to kind of formulate. So I'm definitely I'm ready to check out some new material. Ready to check out your material, definitely, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm so far like the little the little, like a couple paragraphs, like I have the ideas about the book. So the people I have let read it, they're like, yeah, this works. But honestly, I just wanted to do something that was for me. You know what I mean? So whether nobody reads it or pays attention to it, I can at least be like, I did that. I put it out. So that's the main goal that I was going with this.
Very cool. Very cool. Looking forward to it. Sometime this year, Kevin Shaw, the author, decides to make his debut out here. Speaking of other projects, for those of you who don't know, or for those of you who decided not to subscribe to our YouTube channel, make sure you check that out, youtube.com/Beat Network. Please make sure you do so. We need as many subscribers as we can, as we are constantly pumping out material now. The newest material that we have actually dropped is Back to the Classics has a second show hosted by two of my closest friends, Selena Sauce. That's right. Selena Sauce and Duval Brown. It is a variety show. The show isn't going to necessarily always be the same thing. We're kind of testing out what viewers are going to kind of really enjoy, and then what viewers aren't going to enjoy. But this week, if you haven't checked it out, make sure you check out Remake versus Classic, 1978 Halloween versus Rob Zombie's Halloween. So make sure you check that out. It should be out this past Tuesday. The following week is going to be another horror movie edition that's definitely going to be awesome. So please make sure you check that out. It's Cinema Rehab, youtube.com/Beat Network, Beat Network, and check out our playlist, Back to the Classics. Jay, some big news kind of dropped that really lines itself up with who our artist is and what everything kind of resembles here. Please let the people know what is up.
I like the usher to me. That was dope. Very true. With the movie that we're covering today with our artists, for those who are just tuning in, we are covering the late great Chadwick Boseman, this month's artist showcase for Black History Month. An artist who left us way before their time, and we're gonna definitely honor him and his life and his artistry and his work all this month. So definitely check in with that. And beginning with today's movie. Now, the news that dropped today is perfect timing because we were doing today's show and it dropped today, and the timing is awesome.
I know. I was so happy when it dropped.
I was just like, yo.
I was like,
good
yes.
looking.
So we all just recognize the excitement Dave just had.
Oh, yeah.
My goodness.
Oh, boy. But dropping today, and Chadwick Boseman related news, Black Panther. Wakanda series in the works at Disney Plus as Disney inks a TV deal with the director, Ryan Coogler. So we can look forward to I'm going to assume it's going to be in the MCU's TV show related, like WandaVision, whatever.
Yeah, I think so, which means you could probably see at least some of those actors from Black Panther to actually kind of show up and kind of do their own thing. It's obviously everything is still very early on in the works there, as this was just announced, but I'm excited. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm excited too.
I'm going to tell you, I'm excited, really am, but it's that excitement comes with a grain of damn, because these are one of those things that you just really wish Chadwick was still here, because especially even in the MCU's TV sphere, you have now Sam Jackson got a Nick Fury show coming up. Almost every character in the Avengers has their own thing going. It's like you wish that Chadwick was still here to enjoy the fruits of his labor and branch out and really take Black Panther to another thing, and it just makes you miss him a hell of a lot more. So though I'm so excited for this new show, definitely for Black Panther 2 for sure, it just makes you miss him that much. Like I wish he could be to really continue on what he created, especially with Black Panther. You know what I mean? But
right.
Yeah.
I know you were kicking it back to me. And with that,
back to you, Dave.
Oh, what's going on here? My apologies for that. And with that news comes our introduction to Chadwick. And let's face it, there's a lot that I'm sure people. Last year when we did this, we gave some information on Denzel. So make sure you check that out, as we did 4 movies on Denzel Washington. And it wasn't the original intention to do Chadwick until the news dropped. And it was almost immediate when Jay and I both decided to say, no, we're doing Chadwick Boseman. It's the fastest way that we could honor him. So because of that, Chadwick obviously started off as a theater actor, of all things. What's kind of more, that isn't necessarily the traditional way that people go into acting into movies anymore. That used to be the way back in like the 90s for sure, and definitely the 80s. Instead, he lived in Brooklyn at the start of his career, and he was part of a lot of directing productions, including George C. Wolfe's The Colored Museum. He didn't really. He obviously did Romeo and Juliet, of course, as well as other small scholarship programs, hieroglyphic graffiti. But he didn't really get his first breakthrough until he joined the TV series Lincoln Heights. And as Nathaniel Ray Taylor, an Army veteran with PTSD, who was later to be the son of the main character before re-enlisting. Spoiler alert for those who've never seen Lincoln Heights. But he didn't appear into his first feature film, which is also an excellent film, The Express, the Ernie Davis story. Now, he wasn't a main star, but he did play a very, very real character that mattered to the School of Syracuse. He played Floyd Little, who would basically be, I don't want to say the replacement, but he's basically the next guy up after Ernie Davis left school to join the Cleveland Browns before his untimely death, obviously. He was also in the 2010 TV series Persons Unknown. And when he finally had his breakthrough film, that's the movie that we're actually covering here, because a lot of early films that Chadwick would do and would also continue on was a lot of black biopics. So, hey, this is perfect. The white guy talking about Black history. So I'm loving this. I'm stealing the show here a little bit. So let me kick it back to Jay. What movie are we actually covering here?
It's like a white dude to steal some shit. Taking it back to 2013 with the breakout role for Chadwick Boseman, and they're taking back to 42. Original release date, April 12th of 2013. Shares opening weekend with Disconnect, It's a Disaster, and Scary Movie 5. That is a horrible movie to be in movies for sure.
That's what we wanted, Scary Movie 5.
Nobody saw it. All right. Production budget, $40 million with a box office total of $97.5 million. Currently at 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. I do believe that that score is fair. In my opinion.
Yeah, I believe so.
I'll kick it off by saying I saw the movie when it first came out, and obviously at the time Chadwick Boseman was a complete nobody. I had no idea who he was. So watching it, the movie didn't grab me like you would think it would, and I never watched it again up until we decided to do this. Now rewatching it now, years later, I have a newfound respect for the movie. I still feel it definitely has its flaws, but as far as performance-wise, Harrison Ford is your guy in this movie for sure. For this to be the breakout role for Chadwick, of course, we know what follows this, but for this to be the movie that kind of breaks him out, damn good job portraying the great Jackie Robinson and really putting on the emotion of having to really hold back all those that inner rage that you want to spew upon people as they're spewing bullshit upon you. So I think the execution of the movie was cool. Definitely a story of the world getting used to this man while the man is getting used to the world. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And this going back to Chadwick, for him to kind of take on this role, going from one biopic in Floyd Little into going into Jackie Robinson. When you think of the top 5 most famous ball players out there, Jackie is easily, if he's not number 1, he's number 2. The only person I could think that kind of surpasses him in terms of popularity is maybe Babe Ruth. But that's just because of how baseball is. And for him to take on this role, there are flaws with this movie that I think if Jackie was alive today, he'd probably be very, very quick to point it out. For example, this has been a long time coming for the past 20 years to try to get a black man into actual baseball. Baseball was immensely popular in the black community at the time, as they felt like it was something they could kind of excel at, and it kind of helped communities really, really stay close because of it. And the tensions for this were really, really, really high getting into it. Just the year before, in the South, 1946. So Jackie at this point would have been with the Montreal Braves at the time. There were 6 lynchings in the Deep South. So it wasn't like, I know people, I think people really honestly forget, how it wasn't that far back that history like suddenly changed. Like so many people like look at the civil rights movement, obviously. We've covered Malcolm X and a little bit of Martin Luther King, a little bit on the show, and says, well, there's no more racism. And it's like, no, that's really not the case, because literally 15 years ago, I mean, really think about 15 years ago from where we are today. I'm 18 years old, just coming out of high school, and I still have fresh memories coming out of that, so 15 years before really the Civil Rights Act came into place, for 17 years ago, you still had lynchings that were pretty commonplace in the Deep South. So for him, for when Jackie finally broke that color barrier, April 15th, 1947, it was very, very, very difficult to kind of understand the amount of emotions that would happen here. In fact, if I was to compare it to anything that would even remotely be considered a problem to this day, is if, for example, if a transgender try to join a major sport and wind up really breaking through, because there's a lot of animosity that comes with that. Now, obviously, that's kind of in a different area, and I'm not going to really get into that. But that's kind of that was exactly the hardship that Jack Robinson had to get into this. And keep in mind, it wasn't like he was a young kid coming into the major leagues. He was 28 years old when he joined the Brooklyn Dodgers. And it was a massive risk all around, but a lot of support there. Kev, you really wanted to be on this movie. And before we really get into the movie, tell us, what was your reasoning to really want to hop on 42?
Well, because I can't remember what movie I was initially going to see, but like with acting, that's always been my number 2 if ball didn't work out. And during the time I was going to see said movie, ball was still relevant, you know what I mean? But I had in my thoughts, I would like to try my hand in acting. So I have all this in my head, and then I forget when we were going to see, but the trailer for 42 was playing. And it was just ironic to me because I was with someone at the time. We were walking in, and I was like, I'm going to try acting, maybe I can play Jackie Robinson one day. And literally the movie that I was, like the trailer for the movie I'm watching is 42. So I was just like, that is completely ironic and fun. So that was a big reason why I wanted to do this show. And then on top of that, it's just awesome. So,
of course,
I thought the trailer for 42 was it blew me away. Like, I remember seeing the trailer in theaters, and the way like the way it's carefully crafted to be like, oh, that looks good. I want to see that.
Yeah.
Like the use of the Jay-Z record and all that. The only issue with it would be that the intensity that they put together with a trailer, I wish was kind of in the movie. Like, granted, there are scenes where it's like, that's fucked up. But
yeah.
But also
about halfway through this film,
your blood that's fucked up. Boil. and if that was me, I'm beating somebody ass. That's just me though. But whatever. But I, not saying that the movie is boring in any way, but one of my main issues with the movie is that the pacing of it and the way the story is being told, it feels a bit Hallmarkish. It feels a bit corny. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're gonna tackle that, like this man's trauma and guts and glory of what he went through at this time, I want you to really show me this shit. Like, we already know how bad it was at that time. Show me this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like it's very much cleaned up for. All right, let's BT plus it up or whatever.
It's lifetime-ish. It's lifetime.
Very lifetime-ish to me. You know what I mean? And I don't blame it on Chadwick. I don't blame it on nobody. It's merely just how the movie was made, or how the movie was made to be perceived, if you will. It's a family film. Yeah, it's a family film, or the family can watch it. Put it that way, and find some inspiration from it.
Man, I don't know if I could have family watch like right in the middle of that movie, like, because that scene plays out for a while, and I found myself getting angrier and angrier and angrier, which only means that it was well acted. it drew
from that actor, it's like, and I like you too. I don't like you right now, like.
I know. I love that actor too.
With DiCaprio saying it in Django, it's like, oh, DiCaprio, you're really doing your thing right now. I didn't really feel nothing from myself. Like, oh, he's really in character. I felt like Alan Tudyk was in character. I mean, like, dude, when we yell cut, I can't be around you right now.
I'm the same way. Like I think
when we yell cut, I need you to go that way.
I think Chadwick had to be like. Chadwick was probably like afterwards, hey man, like, great scene and all. I need you to not be around me for the next 3 days.
Right.
I need to know how I feel about you.
Give me 3 good days. Because right now, you know what I'm saying? Right now, but cut, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm sorry. That's how it's got to go. But as far as what Chadwick can do when he portrays these characters, I feel like 42 was the beginning of, even though he played Ernie Davis and all that, but I feel like 42 was the movie that can show like, oh, he's good. He has better coming for sure. You know what I mean? And better writing, better directing. Obviously, with next week's movie, obviously they know what we're doing for the month. So Get On Up next week. Get On Up, in my opinion, is like Chadwick Boseman is Ray Charles, like Jimmy Foxx. I'm sorry, Chadwick Boseman is James Brown, like Jimmy Foxx is Ray Charles.
Right.
Like he is James Brown. So as far as like I can't wait to do next week is because Get On Up is just it's a damn near perfect movie in my opinion.
Right. There's been 4 portrayals of Jackie Robinson on the big screen. Jackie Robinson's Story, starring Jackie Robinson himself, 1950. You had Andre Braugher play the court martial of Jackie Robinson. 1990. And then 1996, you had Blair Underwood play Soul of the Game. And so you can kind of imagine.
I don't remember that at all.
Soul of the Game was a HBO TV movie.
Nothing.
We didn't have HBO, so it wouldn't matter no way.
We didn't have those pleasures back in the day.
Not going to say anything.
Oh, you had HBO? Huh? Life was real good for you, huh?
No, I was in Italy. I only had one channel.
Bootlegging HBO.
Hold on. I was in Italy. I had one channel, and it was mainly Christian crap. So, no. That's a part of the problem. But Jackie was so universally loved. And you want to talk about a man that like lived a full life. Just think about that. By the age 28, he becomes the first black man to break the color barrier. He was in World War II. He was attempted to be court-martialed for basically pulling a Rosa Parks. He did not want to get to the back of the bus, on his transition. When he was finally transferred out, an all-white panel said that he wasn't to be court-martialed. Afterwards, he would become the National League MVP. He would become in 1950. I'm probably wrong on that one. He was a National League. He was a National League Rookie of the Year. He won a title his last year there. Then he became really heavily into politics. So he really, really lived like full life then. And it's one of the reasons why I kind of make that same parallel to Chadwick, because even though Chadwick mainly focused on his acting career, by the time Chadwick had passed away, he was there. He was at that pinnacle that was there, which is why it kind of makes us hurt a little bit more to talk about it, because we were ready for Black Panther 2. We were ready to see when you cover 4 different portrayals and then you cover the greatest, probably the greatest Black superhero to ever come out, I mean, that's as fulfilling as an actor's career that you can possibly get. So definitely, like, rest in peace, man. Let's get
it. It went from mastering, portraying real life icons, you know what I'm saying, to now getting roles that were, I'm not portraying this famous black man. I'm now just putting on. I'm not creating these great black characters. You know, like. Obviously, I didn't care. I did not like 21 Bridges at all.
I did. I loved it.
I didn't care for it, but you knew Mom Rainey's Black Bottom was coming, and when it finally came, it was like, when it finally came, you were left to be like, okay, he killed this fucking role. He did his thing, but then you said, because this is it. This is what I got left, you know. Yeah. And so for such a short career, what he was able to do in that career span, and it's crazy. And then it's even more crazy to know that he did these things while sick. Yeah, you know, and Mom Rainey, and it just came out, but Mom Rainey's Black Bottom, in my opinion, is his best performance. You know, on top of T'Challa and all that, yeah, cool. But Mom Rainey is his best performance. You can literally see the culmination of everything he's done in his career, and his training from theater, and Denzel paying for his schooling, and being taught by Felicia Rashad and all that. You can see this culminate to this performance. You know what I'm saying? Listen, if he's not nominated for an Oscar, if he doesn't win that shit posthumously, there's a problem with society. 100%.
Right. Let's get into this movie. 42. One thing that I kind of have to say is that Harrison Ford does a really, really good job of really trying to steal the show in this movie, and he comes very close to pulling it off, which kind of speaks a little bit more about the portrayal of Branch Rickey. But 1945 sports writer Wendell Smith suggests that Brooklyn Dodgers owner Branch Rickey consider Jack and Robinson as a black player Rickey is looking for. Now, this requires a little bit more background, but the whole idea was they knew that the line was getting ready to be crossed. There were too many good players in the Negro League. Satchel Paige being one of them. I said John Gibson. I was wrong. It's Josh Gibson. There was another guy that was right there. And it wasn't a matter of if anymore at this point. It was when. We're talking 2 years away from the end of World War II. And for the most part, Black people weren't really reaccepted back into society, regardless that they shed the same blood as their white allies that they had out in Normandy and all over World War II. I mean, it's very well documented, including entails like the Tuskegee Airmen, who came out of their way, coming from this little small town in Alabama, Tuskegee, Alabama, to actually go and actually fight in World War II. Oh no, believe me, Jay, I know my history. Okay.
No. I'm smiling by the way you say Alabama. I'm like, that's dead on.
Hey, I mean, I lived in the South. I actually met a Tuskegee Airman when I lived in Italy. He like came out. He was in his 90s. And it was really, really cool meeting him. He was a stand-up guy. Robinson is kind of, they like to portray him as a bit of a hothead, but in all fairness, I'm pretty sure if you're playing in the Negro League, like you're probably going to be a little bit of a hothead because the Negro League was very disorganized.
See, I don't think that term is accurate.
Disorganized?
See, no, I'm talking about hot. I'm not talking about that. I said hothead. I don't think that term is accurate because it wasn't like you stepped on his shoe and he just blew up completely. No, it was just racist shit. That's not hotheadish to me.
No doubt about it. And I agree 1,000% there. That stand up for yourself when that stuff happens. But I got it. In my eyes, I'm thinking of the context of the time period. Back then, they were expecting you to either take it or take a bat to the face. That's how bad things were, and that doesn't excuse my white skin. That doesn't excuse any of that behavior whatsoever. But that's also why they consider it kind of like the hothead idea. Because this whole
now to jump on that really quick, that not what you said, but that point was actually explained in the movie from the mouth and the character of Alan Tudyk, which is Chapman, and he says we call Woot Whoop a gook. We call Woot Whoop this, da da da. We just laugh it off, play it off. Why can't they do the same? And that was the viewpoint at that time. Like, yeah, I'm calling you a nigger, yada yada. Just brush it off. Like, calling him what you call him, calling me what you call me. It don't hit the same. Like,
it doesn't. And all that, we're two separate people. Like,
if you say things to me, I have the right to kick your fucking teeth in if I choose to do so. Okay? Like, you cannot. At this time, well, people never, even nowadays, people never understood what, like, it's a freedom of speech. I can say what I want to say. However, just like you're not responsible for what comes out of your mouth, and just like I'm not responsible for my reaction to what comes out of your mouth. You know what I'm saying? And he was expected to turn the other cheek. So the fact that he was able to turn it, especially with that scene. And that scene was rigged to make you feel uncomfortable. Everybody, me, Dave, everybody, all races, we're supposed to be uncomfortable with that particular scene.
It worked.
It worked for sure. Any logical person, black or not, is like, all right, motherfucker, for real. You know what I'm saying? However, it's portrayed to be like, mentally you can beat this dude by winning the game. Strong writing to me because any other person in that position, somebody and you're chastising me, I have a fucking bat in my hand, I'll kill you. You know what I'm saying? So that part of the movie, that writing of the movie to me was strong because correction. Chadwick's acting to me in that moment was strong because when he went to the back and I felt that pain. I felt that pain.
And to be fair, Tudyk's performance in that scene worked really well. Whether
as a guy who typically liking shit, yeah, he does great.
Whether the racists in this movie did their part. They did their shit. They was racist.
Right.
Yeah.
When we get the introduction to Branch Rickey actually meeting Jackie, this is a true story. And this is something
one of the best monologues in the whole movie.
This is something that's very frustrating a little bit with this movie because it kind of cherry picks a little bit of the true stories. For example, they didn't really get into how bad it was when he went down to Florida. You know, of course. And I could have told him immediately. I was like, you're going to Florida for spring training? I was like, I know those northern counties. They're just like Alabama and Mississippi. Like northern Florida is very, 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 you know, they have their ways. I'll just say it that way. That doesn't make all the people bad. There's just
they're a bit hostile.
There's a demographic there. I'll just say it that way. So, and this scene is played beautifully because in the actual scene, Ricky goes into a 3-hour exchange, August 28th, 1945. So we're talking roughly 21 months away from when he makes his major league debut. And Ricky asked Robinson if he can face the racial animus without taking the bait and reacting angrily, which was a concern given Robinson's kind of prior arguments with law enforcement officials. Now, keep in mind, this was a guy that had gotten that was in the process of getting court-martialed and was luckily not found to be that way. So, to be fair to Ricky, there's a real concern there because if the guy's going to take it from military officials, what's he going to do the first time a fan heckles him? You know, so
exactly.
So that's very true. So Robinson getting all defensive says, "Are you looking for a Negro who is afraid to fight back?" And Ricky, mind you, Ricky is playing on his Methodist background in this. Ricky replies with, "No, I'm looking for a Negro player with guts enough not to fight back." And it's played perfectly by both Robinson and Ford. In fact,
the last line said by Robinson is like, "Oh yeah, you give me a jersey, you put a number on my back, I give you the guts. Brooklyn, we go hard, we go." So dope.
He had to attain the commitment He had to attain the commitment by playing on Robinson's Methodist background to turn the other cheek to racial antagonism, and at that point, Robinson agreed to it. Ricky agreed to sign him to $600 a month, which was the equivalent of about $8,500 a month. At that
point. When I heard him say that, I was like, oh, this for you. This isn't for you. So that's a lot of money.
$3,500 signing bonus?
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Play minor league baseball? Hell yeah!
Hell yeah, I'm playing. I can't even play.
Take that now.
I just gotta run. Cool.
So, in 1946, Robinson arrives at Daytona Beach, Florida for spring training with the Montreal Royals, which was a AAA team. At the time, Clay Hopper was the manager of the Royals. And I'm going to be honest here. This is a little bit where I have disagreements with it because Hop was a racist, was no doubt about it, a racist. And he went out of his way to make sure that he was. For example, he wasn't allowed to stay with his white teammates at the team hotel, And because of it, he had to stay with Joe and Dufresne Harris, who were huge political activists to civil rights, to Mary McLeod Bethune. And because the Dodgers organizations did not own a spring training facility, and this was not mentioned in there, they had to schedule with area localities. So I want you to think about that. I want you to think of how hard it is to get a field. We have plenty of baseball fields nowadays. Back then, there wasn't that many baseball fields. So the Dodgers had to go out of their way to basically try to book these area localities to say, hey, my team needs to practice right now because they didn't have a spring training facility.
That's crazy.
That is insane. Especially, Kev, you know what it's like when you need to you know the difference between practicing 2 days a week and 4 days a week. You know how much better prepared you are going into the game. And there were times back in the 40s that the Dodgers couldn't go out of their way to actually practice more than one time a week.
That's crazy. Because you it's so much. Like when you only practice one time a week, okay, you have the practice day, but in between, it's so much that you could lose, so much that can happen between now and the game. It definitely doesn't help for the game at all.
Right.
At all. So only one time a week, that was tough.
Yeah, it definitely was. And as Robinson's going through his Montreal career, and they don't really talk too much about the Montreal career too much. This was kind of some of the things that they skipped on it. For example, they showed the Sanford police where a police officer literally goes on the field and says, we are not having a, somebody say the word, please.
Yo, okay, real quick. The fact that this motherfucker's wearing a security officer uniform.
Wait.
He's the police.
Before we get wait. I'm loving the fact that me and Jay know what scene you're gonna go into. We know that in the middle of Dave's. Somebody say the fucking word. that is hilarious.
I'm still going to be respectful here. Like,
no, I know that. I know that. That's why it's so funny to me that. Yeah.
Like, he's just as weird. Like, oh, somebody do this shit. I can't do this.
Yeah.
He walks out. Mind you, after staring him down for like I guess half the game, and walks out like, "Nigga, get off the field." In a security officer's uniform. Is he an actual cop?
He's a police chief. In reality, he was the chief of police of that town.
But in the movie, he's just.
I don't know why he's in a security officer's uniform. That irritates me to my soul. I'm like, come on, man.
Off of the security officer uniform, I'm like, who the fuck? Yeah. Yeah. Go order some hot dogs, some shit. No, I'm not going for it. It's one thing for Chapman to chastise me because he's the coach of the other team or the manager of the other team. Okay, I can deal with you. The security guard got an issue? No, bro.
If you don't go make sure nobody steals nothing, get the hell out of my face. Like, what are you doing?
If you get the fuck out of my face.
Right.
Now, Robinson, though, excelled throughout the season. By the way, after that game, because of that incident, he was sent back to Daytona Beach. And then there was an incident in Jacksonville, and I know this because Jacksonville was only like 2 hours away from where I grew up at, that the stadium was literally padlocked shut without warning on game day by order of the city's park and public property director. And then in DeLand, a scheduled game had to be postponed obstinately because of issues with the stadium's electrical lighting. So you kind of get the idea of where
sons of bitches.
Yeah, exactly. Eventually, eventually they were able to kind of get some games. And Robinson had a great season. He hit 349 with a 985 on base percentage. For those of you who aren't sports fans, if you hit the ball every single time, that's 1,000. Hitting more than 300 is a hell of a season. He actually won MVP for the International League that year in doing so. But, of course, the big moment is when he actually breaks the color barrier.
This part of the movie, you got to give a shout out to Chris Maloney as Leo DeRocher. For the small part that he's in this movie, he kills it. Like another great monologue in this movie is as the team is now prepping for Jackie Robinson's arrival. No matter what, you can't stop it. The black dude's coming. And I love the monologue that he says because he's like, yeah, a black guy is going to be on the team. Guess what? There are more coming.
Yeah,
fucking get used to it. And he kept it so real and kept it so 100. Like, I don't care. Like he can be purple as long as he can play it. Like, money is green. I know I'm mixing another monologue, but the vibe they put on, like, I don't give a damn about his race. If he can get us to win, then cool. Get used to it. Another black dude, once he goes, you get rid of him, there are more coming. Trust me. Great monologue. Great performance. Small performance, but great performance.
So, again, this is where my inconsistency kind of comes in. Because they suspend DeRocher, and part of the reason why they suspend DeRocher is because of the Catholic Youth Organization. Thanks, assholes. To basically get him kicked off because he's adulterous, right? That's not the reason. That's not the real reason. The real reason is because he was a heavy gambler, and he was associated with a guy by the name of George Raft, with actor George Raft. And George Raft was very well known in organized crime circles. Now, my problem is that I don't know if you guys know this, but did you know that Major League Baseball had to give script approval for this movie?
No, I didn't know, but I would figure being that it's a sports team type movie, same way like the NBA or NFL. I don't think they would, but
yes, it was the same thing with the NFL with concussion. They had to approve the script before they did anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So I really feel like MLB was the one that kind of stepped in and was just like, no. Just play the Catholic Youth Organization line. And I'm like, yo, like that dude had an interesting life too. Like, I know this is a Jackie Robinson story, but come on, man. What winds up happening, of course, is as he breaks through the color barrier, April 15th, 1947, he's playing to a crowd at Ebbets Field of about 26,000 fans. 14,000 of those fans were black, just so you know. Yeah. So there was heavily outnumbered. He was able to get a walk and score a run, and the walk and score a run. So they kind of showed this preseason game between the actual Dodgers, the actual Brooklyn Dodgers, and the Montreal team. And you had this player named Higbee, played by Douche McFace. I don't really care. Brad Bayer is his name, but the guy had the biggest douche face I'd ever seen.
Douche McFace.
He did. I understand what he means. He did.
It was pretty bad. And like how Robinson was basically going to be attacked throughout this. Robinson led the league that year in hit by a pitch, which is fucked up at so many levels. I'm like, this dude's just taking 90-mile-an-hour fastballs, and he got no helmet. That's not a helmet. That's a cap. You know, so
turn the other cheek. Right. They want him to turn the other cheek. In 2021, you would die.
Beamed in the head and all that. So,
and I don't know. Have you it's ironic with this also. Before basketball kind of took over, when I first started, I was playing baseball.
Yeah.
One thing that you said, how baseball brings communities together, it was really like that for us. Like you may have you and the guy down the street don't like each other, or you and some other guy, or something, you know what I mean? But whenever we played baseball, we all came out to play baseball.
Yeah.
And one of the times, of course, it wasn't a 90-mile-per-hour ball, but I got hit in the face with a baseball being pitched at me. That shit hurts so bad.
It doesn't feel good.
So a 90 mile an hour, oh my gosh.
90 mile an hour, throwing it, no problem. Gets beamed in the head. Hell no. I'm coming after you.
Like Jay said, you would die.
I'm coming after you with a bat, and if
I have a bat in my hand,
I'm going back to the dugout and grabbing another bat and breaking that over your head.
After this throbbing hurts a little bit, adrenaline's gonna kick in, and I want to take it out on you.
I gotta say, I found it a little weird with who's the announcer? Remind me his name. I think it's
John C. McGinley,
right?
I thought he was funny.
He is.
He's hilarious.
Problem is that he's played another baseball announcer in Angels in the Outfield. And in that one, he was like super like the Angels. Oh no, it wasn't him. No, I got the wrong guy. But I kind of picture him in that role where he's just like, the Dodgers suck this stadium all because of that black kid that they got on. That's all I kept picturing. I was waiting for him to say it. Maybe he harmed me. I don't know. But that's all.
He played a real straight. I'll tell you that much. So are we at the Phillies game?
Yeah, no, let's get into that. So they decided to play the Phillies, and this game, let's just say Ben Chapman, in the lightest way I could say it, decides to taunt Jackie Robinson.
Kev, you know what, Kev? I really want to hear you explain this scene as one, an athlete, 2 as an actor, 3 as a movie fan. How does this scene look? What do you feel when you get this scene?
Okay. What is the guy's name again, Dave?
It's Ben Chapman.
Chapman, yeah.
Okay. So this idiot is the Phillies manager, right? And then my man Jackie
manager.
Yeah, my man Jackie get on the plate and he about to do his thing. And this idiot, he got the nerve to sit here and yell out obscenities like he not a couple feet across from me. If it wasn't all these people, my man Jackie would have beat his ass. I just know that's
not just obscenities. Not just obscenities.
Yeah, there was like the stuff he was saying. Like, even though we live in a time right now where you say that kind of stuff.
I don't really want to relive it, but go ahead and say some of the stuff he was saying because it was.
To be honest, I don't even remember off the top of my head. I think he called him a porch monkey. He called him a porch monkey, didn't he?
I do.
One thing that he did that I thought was so funny, even though it was so wrong, he was, hey, nigga. Hey, nigga, come here, nigga. I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Listen, I'm on the phone with my girl when that scene posted. I'm like,
that's how it was like too. I'm like, what
are you shitting me?
I was like, at first I thought it was going to be just like a couple of lines. No, it was.
No, he kept going. Me too.
It was almost a monologue of racism.
Are you shitting me? Like
going. Now,
he kept it going.
On the sports side, Jay, like when you have a fan heckling you, you can like kind of tune them out a little bit, but if they say the right stuff, it does bother you. So I can only imagine this is another major league team manager that's heckling you and you can't do nothing. And not only that, he's a white manager at that. You know what I mean? Like, I can only imagine the rage.
That definitely leaves in the good old days.
I felt that.
It was cool. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it was that game or the next game where one of the people on the Dodgers like came up to him and was like, yo, shut the fuck up. But
no,
until that point.
It was that game.
It was that game. It was literally like his final at bat where his teammates were like, yo, shut the fuck up.
And that proves that during that time, it was just okay for people to say stuff like that. And nobody batted an eye about it. It was, now I give kudos to the rest of Jackie's teammates that actually said something, but the fucking announcer heard it. Then anybody could have said chill the fuck out.
Oh, it gained national attention. It was so bad. This was something they didn't actually do in the movie, which would have, okay, it's already hard enough to hate Ben Chapman, but whenever Jackie would get to 3-0 count, Chapman would tell his pitchers instead of walking him, bean him. If you're going to put him on base, you might as well throw it at his head. I'm like, what? When I read that story, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, you're already harassing the guy to an extreme. Oh, it was so bad. And you had this fantastic scene afterwards because Jackie, after his second at bat, basically goes into the dugout in full frustration. You know, he's right. He wants to beat his ass. You know, I wanted to beat his ass. Everybody wanted to beat that dude's ass. But
that particular scene is so powerful to me because, like Jay said, I felt that. I felt that. I don't know exactly. Of course, I don't know how that feels, but I felt that rage. This is how my mind is so scattered. The first thing that I said when he did that was, that hurt. Like that vibration of that hurt. But I felt that rage. I know, you know, to feel so helpless. I think we probably can all say as a opponent, we just felt helpless. And for that moment for him, he was helpless. And not only I was helpless, I'm embarrassed. My wife is out here. All these people is out here. And there's absolutely nothing I can do.
Yeah. And you know, I gotta give credit to Nicole Beharie here. I know we haven't really talked about his wife, and his wife.
She's great.
His wife was one of those rare people that really did not want the spotlight in her life. Literally, I think it was either the year before he died, or maybe the year after he died. He started the Jackie Robinson Foundation, obviously, and she was so adamant. About being anti-drug after their son basically passed away from the use of drugs later on, again in a car accident, Jackie Robinson Jr., and just being so big into it that the performance by Nicole Beharie, it's a little subtle. There's definitely scenes where things were really working for them, like when she decides to use white-only's bathroom. That was
a strong scene.
It was a strong scene. That was kind of a rough scene, but
played lightly though. It was played very lightly.
It was. All she wanted him to do was, like, she kept saying, Jackie, like, look at me. Like, because the whole point is that if he could look at her and realize how important it was for him to just literally turn the other cheek right at this moment, that everything's going to be okay. And it was such a great scene to kind of see all that played out. And
I didn't get that from that particular line. When she was like, just look at me. I didn't necessarily get that she wanted him to do so because she felt that, it's easy for him to turn the other cheek. I thought that she was saying that because as a black man, when you're so close-knit with your wife that way, she is usually the only person that can calm you down, that can kind of bring some peace to you. So I felt that when she was saying that, she was like, just look at me, because she knows if he can look at her and they can lock eyes, that he doesn't go over there with the bat.
He looks at her. She's all like, after the game.
Baby, right here.
Right here.
Starts pulling out the butcher's knife from her.
I got it in my purse. I got it.
I will air this bitch if I need to. I got you.
And credit again to Branch Rickey, because he comes in and he knows how bad that was, and he decides to kind of once again reiterate, some of the core beliefs of that turn the other cheek and whatnot. Back to Jackie. Jackie comes up for his third at bat, and he basically scores a winning run. And while the media really kind of went after Chapman afterwards, because of the bad press it generated, that the general manager of the Phillies, Herb Pinnock, required him to pose with Jackie for newspapers, magazines prior to the next game between them. And man, you want to talk about an awkward photo shoot? That was about as
yeah, you see the awkwardness.
Yeah. that was like play nice. I know you two need to beat each other's ass, but play nice, please. Later in the film, one of the kind of conversations that was out there was, is Jackie going to take Pee Wee Reese, Hall of Famer Pee Wee Reese, played by Lucas Black, to his place at shortstop, because that was Jackie's natural position. When he came into Major League Baseball, they placed him at first base, but naturally Jackie was more second base, first base material, or second base shortstop material, right? And the game was against the Cincinnati Reds, so you had Louisville area where Pee Wee Reese is at, and this was also, I thought, a pretty good scene, because, and this is again a very real story. Recognizing that the crowd immediately starts being belligerent to Jackie, Pee Wee literally goes and puts his arm around him. Says time, and decides to kind of have a socializing hour and puts his arm around him, showing that he's an ally to him as well. Now, that'd be like the reason why that's important. The reason why I think that's important is that's literally reflecting back to the crowd that you can't really say or do anything here. It's time for change. It's time for things to be accepted here. And I'm your guys' hero. I'm that hometown kid. And that's such a big thing in baseball. So, and definitely in sports, but more so I feel in baseball, because you travel around much longer than any other team, because 162 games in the season.
Right.
And, when you finally get called up, usually, the pitchers' wives are all there, and all the families kind of come join in, to kind of see everything. So, and Reese had a really good line at the end. He goes, "Thank you, Jackie, because my family is sitting up in the bleachers right now, and they need to see this. They needed me. They need to know exactly where I stand, and it actually shut up the crowd in the process."
Yeah. Okay. It did.
And that really happened where it actually.
I Googled that. It did happen. So I can't really blame the actual player of the scene. It actually happened. But it goes back to my feelings earlier about it's kind of cliche how things play. Like, there's always a scene in a movie where racism is happening, right? There's always that one white guy or two, three white guys that kind of see it playing out in front of them, like, oh, this is really fucked up. Like, this has been happening, my man. This is nothing new. You know what I'm saying? So when Pee Wee goes out there and does that, I can't hate on that scene, even though it's placed super cliche. Like, okay, this is when the white guy who at first complained about it because he received letters, realized, which I thought was also another strong scene, when, oh, you got one racist letter, I got stacks of them. You know what I'm saying? So that was strong. Strong scene. However, it's placed to where, oh, he really goes through the bullshit. Yeah, I do. So now I'm gonna put my hand around you, like, hey, let everybody know I'm on your side. That was like the one guy that was in the dugout listening to Chapman hit him with the nigga. He's just like, wow, this really fucked up. Like, you think? Yes, it is. And I feel like those are placed in these movies. They're not strategically placed. Like it's meant to be like not white savior, but it's definitely more like see that one white guy in the cut. He's down with you.
That's kind of Good.
I was gonna say I agree to a certain extent. Like I do hear you, and I do think that does, like, that little savior thing kind of does play a part. However, when I go into a period piece, I always, and I do my research after to figure out what's real and what's not. But when I go into a period piece, I have to go into it with the mind that, yes, majority of these people are gonna be racist, and a lot of it is gonna kind of be true to nature. However, there is also gonna be those who oppose that, and if those people that oppose that so happen to end up in the story that I'm watching, then I can't necessarily chastise it or wrong it because I wasn't there. I don't know. So I go into it believing that, yeah, it may be cliche, but yeah, there probably was a white savior in some aspect. I just look at it that way.
I think, I do agree with Jay in terms of it doesn't exactly help the movie. Even though these are good scenes, you feel like this is probably, something that you might see in a Hallmark or Lifetime film as well, which is what really hurts the film. And the reason why is because it's playing a very, very, very simple trope, which is the magic Negro trope, right? It's what hurts movies like Legend of Bagger Vance, where it's like, oh, Jackie can do no wrong. He's feeling racism in front of his eyes, even though Jackie's not really doing anything.
Legend of Bagger.
Legend of Bagger Vance. That's a very
if you ever seen a magical Negro story, it'd be that.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of.
But, hey, magical slave man, what's up? What's going on?
It would have really helped out this film if either they had a little bit more of the history of what was going on before Jackie literally went into baseball, or if they would have shown those scenes a little bit earlier in the film. And what I mean by that is, if they didn't literally place this within the last 25 minutes of this film, because now it's like, oh, I have white allies all of a sudden.
Yeah, I will give you that. It is like that.
Right. So yeah. So it is what it is. Even later.
I think what it helped for all of us in this movie is we all agree that this definitely has a Hallmark feel to it. I'm starting to think that they were going for that. So if you have if your theme is, hey, it's going to be a Lifetime of the Hallmark movie, then everything that we're complaining on is exactly what would be in that type of movie. I think for us, in order for it to be a movie that we can really like you said, Dave, they would have to have some of the real shit in there. No, this really happened. He really couldn't go here. For us to really appreciate it. Anything else would be Hallmark, like you said.
I think it really has to deal with MLB being involved with the script, because the director of this film is. You
think they had that much influence?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
The director of this film is Brian Helgeland. You know what he wrote? LA Confidential. That's not a happy movie.
That is my point. If you write something as strong and gritty like LA Confidential, this should be hardcore.
He also wrote Mystic River. Those are hard movies to like.
Hardcore movies. Like LA Confidential is probably one of the coldest LA movies.
Mystic River hella time.
He did conspiracy theory as a writer. He did Payback. He directed Payback. Again, gritty movies. I'm not saying that 42 needed to be gritty, but it's okay to not bubble this up a little bit. It's okay to, and I think he was really trying to like show a little bit of the harshness by having Alan Tudyk in there playing Chapman and kind of letting that scene really play out. But it's inconsistent. It's inconsistent. By the end of this film, it's really inconsistent, and you almost kind of feel like you want to cut those scenes out, in general, because it's like it doesn't follow the tempo of this film. I'm glad to have white allies. I really am glad to have white allies. But like yo, like I've been dealing with racism for a while now. Like
Right.
why all of a sudden are you guys hopping on the bandwagon now? And that's kind of the problem with this film.
You're right. You're right. That.
Yep. The end of this film happens against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they kind of made this joke about, oh, they're playing the Pirates. It's like the Pirates have won a World Series. I don't know what you guys are complaining about. Like the Pirates had Barry Bonds at one point. Like I don't know what, like Roberto Clemente played for the Pirates. And going against pitcher Fritz Ostermuller, who earlier in the game beaned Robinson. And Jackie goes and he hits a home run off of it. He hits a home run off of him off of a 3-0 count, which is incorrect. It was a 1-2 count. It was foul ball, and then home run. And it sends him to the World Series. This is not necessarily true. Basically, Jackie hits a home run. The Dodgers win. The next day, they clinch the pennant because somebody lost in the process, probably the Cardinals.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't have been good for TV.
Right. And, this movie kind of wraps up with a little bit of tidbits. Okay, here's where I have a problem with this movie. This movie wraps up with tidbits about that Brooklyn Dodgers team. Outside of Pee Wee Reese, I could not name any other player on that team because they didn't make it a big point about it. So I'm like, why is this in here? Give me more.
That one dude that one dude from Left of the Irish, Dixie, I think his name was. He had a few lines. Much like a lot of characters in this movie, while they're good, they go nowhere. Like, for example, to me, Andre Holland's character, the journalist or the writer, yeah, though a good character, he's kind of your narrator, but after the first 20, 30 minutes, he's gone for a good majority of the movie. Well,
he's in the movie like sporadically. They just keep showing him in the stands, like typing, kind of describing, what's going on with Jackie. And of course, yeah, he joins the BBWA, Baseball Writers Association, who are the guys that basically figure out who's going to be in the Hall of Fame. But it's like, come on, like, I didn't care for the rest of the Brooklyn Dodgers. Give me more. This is the Jackie Robinson story. Give me the Jackie Robinson story. Talk about how he wins a title in 1955. Talk about how he wins the MVP. How he was elected into the Hall of Fame. How he became very, very, very much a hardcore Republican until basically the final years of his life, when he realizes the Republicans suck and decided to switch to Herbert Humphrey, which was a huge deal in 1972. Talk about that. Talk about him and his wife. His wife was a phenomenal person. I don't understand like the cash cards. And
personally, it should have. If they were going to call it the Jackie Robinson story, they should have talked about him and maybe the games, or like what they showed us would have been the little bit that they showed us toward the end. Keep about the game. I don't want to hear anything about Jackie Robinson being a Republican. Keep about the game. That's good for me. That's what I said. But before that, right. Before we get into takeaways, I would say it was going to be a cut that out, but really, I just add this in. Like, the one thing that this movie is definitely missing for me is more baseball. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really need to see some more baseball. Like I don't know baseball that well. Not like Dave, but I know, when you're portraying a very famous athlete, you need to kind of mimic their moves. And I know he had Jackie Robinson's stance down, but looking like would he swing like that? Would he run like that? It was one of those things where I wanted to see more baseball to truly indicate that Chadwick trained hard to play the game, at least that way he could play Jackie. You know what I mean?
I can agree. I can agree with that. Let me be fair. If Jackie probably isn't considered top 25, maybe not even top 50 in terms of how good of a ball player he was, because literally those other guys that were in the Negro League, like Satchel Paige, was a fantastic baseball player. You also had, the Murderers Row Yankees in 1947. Trust me, you're not beating those Yankees. Like for 4 years, those guys were insane. It's like facing 4 40 home run guys every single time you went up to bat against them. And when they literally called it the murderer's row, usually pitchers didn't get out of it. It was pretty bad. In terms of the baseball player, Jackie was a very, very good baseball player. By one, I personally couldn't even put him in my top 25. He was also he definitely had other interests. In fact, when he retired, Hank Aaron, may he rest in peace, since he just passed away, literally said to him, the greatest thing about baseball is when it's great playing the game of baseball, but it's even greater for you to decide what you decide to do after baseball, which sounds a little weird, but that was that was very, very true. His wife would later become a head nurse. I don't want to say head nurse, but she completed a degree as a nurse, and he became president, vice president of the company Chock full of Nuts. At one point. So to give you the idea, the one thing Jackie wanted was he had a quote, was at one point, I would love to see somebody on third base, a black man on third base, on the third baseline being the coach. That didn't happen until the year after he died, when Frank Robinson, another Hall of Famer, did it for the Baltimore Orioles. So, yeah, it just there was more that could have expanded with Jackie's life. I could really see why they really wanted to go with that season. That's also part of the reason why there's 4 other movies and, oh God, at least 15 books off the top of my head that I could tell you about. Yeah, I mean, everybody's written. If you're a sports columnist, at some point you've written something about Jackie Robinson. That's how impactful and how big his legacy was. I mean, to break the color barrier and all that. I give credit to Chadwick. It's not an easy role. At the same time, I kind of felt like it wasn't the most challenging role for him, because I also agree with you, Jay. It probably didn't look like as physically demanding as they probably could have made it. He did the little shuffle step a couple of times. Then even there was one scene that I kind of had a problem with, where it was like, okay, somebody hits a single and Jackie's running it out, and he kind of rounds second base, and I could just see how slow Chadwick was. I was like, oh my God, this guy's running like a 5.4 40 right now.
He didn't get real fast on Black Panther for sure.
No, not at all.
Right.
But no, it's a solid film. Nice. There's it could be better, but I don't really have too many complaints about it. Takeaways. Let's do this.
Big Kev, Hollywood Kev. Who's getting at that guy work?
Chadwick. I would have to be Chadwick. I mean, like I said at one time on the nose before, Chadwick was a huge inspiration to me. Somebody that I wanted to work for in the future, and I think he did. It's hard, like you said, it's hard doing real people. You know what I mean? So I think he did his thing. So, yeah, I'm going in.
All right, that chick work.
His wife, outside of her being a goddess, I think she held him down the whole way through. And even though she held him down, you can tell she was with the shits as well. So she got it.
Most definitely. That full of work.
I don't even remember his name. I think the Fool Award would have to be the person who got traded to Pittsburgh.
Higby?
I think he would be the fool.
Yeah!
I think he would be the fool. I mean, you made that big hissy fit. All your boys recanted. You get traded to a team and y'all don't go to the World Series. Yeah, you the fool, brother.
Does it hold up?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Well, I guess technically, yeah, does it hold up? 8 years later.
Well, it's been 7.
I don't know.
8 years.
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. I think about that one.
I'll tell you what. How about cut that out?
Cut that out. Cut that out. The pacing. The pacing was just off to me. The pacing was up. I felt like, much like you guys, if you're gonna tell a Jackie Robinson story, tell a Jackie Robinson story. I feel like the pacing was just so fast, and points where they needed to really get into, they didn't. So I would say they got to do something about that. The pacing. As far as the scene goes, the shower scene, I guess.
Yeah,
it was not needed.
Well, okay, all right. An iconic scene.
Well, I'm a Yankees fan, so yeah, I would have to go them.
How about iconic?
I would have to.
Iconic scene, like the scene.
Oh, you said iconic. I thought you said iconic team. Sorry. Iconic scene was the scene where he's breaking the bat. I felt every bit of that. It was emotional, like you feel it, even if you weren't dealing with racism like he was on that level. Whatever little bit you felt, or if somebody pissed you off enough and you really couldn't do nothing, you felt it. So that scene was very iconic to me, and it was much needed.
Danger Neff, who's gonna get that guy award?
I'm gonna give it to Branch Rickey. I'm gonna give it to Harrison Ford.
He was my second guy.
To be fair, Harrison Ford probably has the best lines in this movie, which is part of the reason why it helps. But Ricky was a three-dimensional character who very much leaned on his faith, which I always enjoy. And he played exactly his role. He was, in a way, the mentor, and in the way everything else. I just
he didn't pull no punches. I like that about him.
Yeah, no, he was straight up like no.
Yeah, I like that.
This is exactly who you have to be to succeed. By the way, the Bible has a problem with adultery. It's like, okay, yeah, like, thank you.
I love Harrison Ford's portrayal of that real like grudge. I'm gonna cut a Negro man in the major leagues. Like, he's growing the whole time. You know what I mean? I love that shit. That chicken award.
It's gotta go to Jackie's wife. She's kind of the most prominent role in this for it. She holds it together. You could really tell that after Jackie retired, she probably was the one that really held Jackie together afterwards, because it's like she was like, okay, well, you had your career, now it's my turn.
right.
That Fool Award.
There's a big part of me that wants to give it to Alan Tudyk, but he does so well with such a hateful character that I'm gonna let you, Jay, take Alan Tudyk, if that's okay. I'm gonna give to every ball player who decided to sign the petition to not play with Jackie Robinson.
For not to go nowhere.
Like, what's wrong with you?
Does it hold up?
8 years later, yeah, I think it's a perfectly fine movie. 8 years from now, I don't know. 10 years from now, probably not. But right now, yes. Part of the reason is because of Chadwick, but as time goes on, probably not.
Cut that out.
The introduction to the coach, like, okay, the coach. Okay, so they kind of. They kind of made this big thing about hiring this coach, right? So they literally put in like a 2.5-minute scene or a 3-minute scene of like introducing this coach. Like, the negotiations went up, and the motherfucker doesn't do anything throughout the whole fucking movie outside of arguing with the hell manager. He didn't go out there to argue against Chapman. Like, what are you doing? Like,
even the go get him speech was like, all right, y'all, Go out there, play with your heart. And who playing? Yeah, kill ass. Yeah, go get him.
He was all like, "There's nothing you guys have to be afraid of." What was his name? No, I'm gonna pull it up because it's a dumb name. It's a really dumb name. There's nothing you have.
Why his name dumb? Oh, and I thought about it.
There's nothing you have to be afraid of Dutch Leonard. You guys have nothing to be afraid of. I was like, bro, you're 81. What am I going to be afraid of? You being even racist to me? Like, that's hitting par for you.
Right. And before you ask Jay, I did think about it. I'm conflicted. I feel like it holds up enough because of Chadwick. I honestly think if he didn't pass away, this movie wouldn't hold up.
Right.
But I
had to think about it, but yeah, I don't think it will.
Iconic scene. And actually, I think I even got the name of that guy wrong. Never mind. All right. Iconic scene has to go to the beginning. The whole real scene of Jackie being asked, I need you to have the courage to basically not react. It was very well sold by both characters. And it was at that moment where you realize how much faith Branch Ricky really had in his decision to bring up Ricky. And to be honest, like, he was a supporter. Like, he went out of his way to support him. This dude is in minor league. This dude literally went to minor league training camp to make sure Jackie was doing okay. Like, because he wanted to test that theory. And that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Actually, and speaking on that him going to training camp was also like another great line was like, I forgot the name of the coach. He goes, if you are going to continue if Jackie isn't shown the same amount of respect or you take time with him like you take time with all the players, you can consider yourself unemployed. I'm like,
yeah,
fuck yeah, Branch. Yeah, Branch, for sure.
Yeah.
Sucker.
Jay, who's getting your that guy award?
That guy award's gonna have to go to Chadwick as Jackie Robinson. Really, and not just the fact that this is his movie, we're covering him, but what he portrayed. Even though I wanted to see more of it, but the emotional beats that Chadwick takes during those moments where, like, when Jackie feels hopeless and it feels like, wow, am I going through this? Why can't I fight back? Why can't I, jab some other shit back at them as they jab? For him to have that self-control, even though we know it's eating him up, that's what made for, that iconic status that he achieved. Because, like me with a bat, and you nigga, I'm taking your fucking head off without a doubt. However, for him to show that level of resilience and like, you know what? Here's the fact: I could kill you, and I would kill you, but I'm not. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, the way that he portrayed that level of, I love it. I want to see more of it. Honestly, the movie could have easily helped to be about 10, 20 minutes longer and to show more of that.
While cutting out other scenes, because this movie's a little bit over 2 hours long, and sometimes you feel it.
Yeah,
that chick award.
The only chick that's in there, Nicole Bahari as Mrs. Robinson.
She is the only chick that's in there.
The only chick in there is the wife, and it's like, all right, cool.
They do that way too often. It drives me.
But she portrays the character very strong, as she didn't take no shit, and she reps for her husband, and it shows that she's not, even though she wants him to turn the other cheek, she's not too quick to turn the other cheek. You know what I'm saying? So I do admire that about her. When she saw the white only restroom, she like, well, I gotta pee, so I'm gonna go ahead and go and pee. I'm like, you know what I'm saying?
Right, I thought that was so dope.
Yeah, I respect that for sure.
That full award. Come on.
I was gonna say.
Give it to Tudyk.
I was gonna say Dickie, but you know what? Alan Tudyk is Chapman. And honestly, if I don't remember the scene until I watched it today. Like it had been like just, hey, nigga, and kind of let that be that. You know, it's like, oh, he dropped the M-bomb. Oh, you racist prick. But he, nigga, like he revved the shit up. I was like, bro, porch monkey. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man,
it's like, wow. You know what I'm saying? It's not funny, but it's hilarious. You know what I'm saying? It's like to be in that position, we're like, hey, porch monkey, you did it. You don't belong in baseball. Nigga. I would actually laugh at that shit.
I really want to.
So I killed you. I'm gonna laugh at that because that shit is funny.
I think we're privileged though, Jay. I think being that we've seen throughout history how blacks are treated, we're kind of privileged that we can look at it and laugh because we know. Well, we'll kill your goddamn head off. Get out my face.
Wow.
Back then, it was, you know what I mean? It wasn't the first time they heard it, but it was relatively new. Like, it didn't go on like that. So they didn't have the privilege like that.
Like, I can only bet Brian Hegelman told Alan Tudyk, all right, so I need you to be as racist as possible. Like, I'm sure he didn't write the nigga like 30, 40 fucking times. I'm sure he did, but
you know he did. You know he did.
I always wondered
seen
that.
You know he did.
All right, so listen, Alan, I need you to be as racist as possible. Trust me, Dad gets it.
He was like, Alan, I need you to be the face of racism in this movie. I want you to accompany 400 years of racism and put it into one character, and I'm giving you 3 minutes. Go.
You remember that one black dude that took your lunch and kind of punched you in elementary school? Nigga. He was going off, right? I don't know. Yeah, Alan Tudyk as Chapman, the nigga chainsaw, apparently. But yeah, that's what that is. Yep.
I kind of like it. To be fair, and I'm looking this up now, Tudyk did confess that shooting some of the more explicit scenes definitely took a toll on him. Thank you. Like he was like, there's some scenes.
The same way with Leonardo DiCaprio, it was hard for him. I felt it was really hard for him.
Yeah, because Leo is reading Quentin's words. Quentin wrote that for sure.
Oh, you know he did.
They said Samuel Jackson had to tell him like, "Yo, you can say the line."
Yeah, like, and you know, plus given who he's playing, a slave master, like, yeah, you can let the N-word fly. As the coach of the opposite team,
yeah,
nigga, like, whoa, did he write that? No, that's improv, totally improv.
Gotta be.
All right, so. Moving forward, does it hold up?
I'm gonna go with your answer right now. Yes, but primarily because it's Chadwick, and this will kind of launch the rise of Chadwick Boseman. You know what I'm saying? But 10 years from now, probably I could see schools playing this, you know, during Jack Robinson Day or Black History Month or whatever, to kind of like
maybe that's what it was made for.
I'm sure it was, as cheesy as it is.
That's why it seems so Hallmark.
But like 20 years from now, probably not. Unless we're talking about, unless we hope that, you know, 20 years from now, the legacy of Chadwick Boseman is still something being spoken about. You know, then yeah, I would assume that 20 years from now probably hold up, but probably not.
Cut that out.
Okay. I'm going to go.
When I think about it, there's actually a few scenes I could have cut out when I think about it.
I'm going to go with a character. I didn't need, I can't think of his name, the writer for the team.
Really? Wendell Smith?
I could do without the character. Granted, he had a strong moment when the one old white guy pulled up to the house. Was like, is that black ball player in that house? well, don't be afraid of me because 40 more coming. Like, yeah, that was some scary shit. And he handled it real quick. And I got that. But overall, we kind of see the movie from his eyes, if you think about it. I more so was like, he's not needed. He wasn't, to me, he wasn't needed. Because we don't do enough with him to really be needed, really, you know? So, yeah.
Fair enough. And iconic scene.
No, my iconic scene is going to be
Jesus.
it's
It is kind of the iconic scene of the film. But
yeah, I love the good old racist boy. It fills me up with joy. No, I'm going to say, believe it or not, it's going to be the DeRocher monologue to the scene. Once he finds out that there's indeed a what do you call it?
Maloney's monologue.
No. He tells him that no matter what you do, you can all kind of you can sign whatever you want to sign, but no matter what, he's coming.
Right.
And you can't so just get used to it. And I love the monologue because he's not viewing it as a black-white thing. Matter of fact, he could even be feeling like, yo, this bothers me too. But I want to get paid and I want to win. So give a fuck what color he is. Let's win. You know what I'm saying? So I love the fact that he brought on that monologue from the mindset of I'm trying to get paid. I want to win some games. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think that monologue is super strong to me.
Yeah, I respect it.
All right, so let's get into some takeaways. All right. So takeaway. Damn, I lost my list. Shit. 1 second.
Kev, you said you had a quick hit, right?
Nope.
Okay, cool.
4 players from the 1947 Brooklyn Dodgers were still alive when this film came out. Tommy Brown, Ralph Branca, Marv Rackley, and Don London.
Who was that?
Okay, so Branca was the guy who offered the shower. I can tell you that.
Okay.
Innuendo.
In 1997, baseball commissioner Bud Selig universally retired Jackie Robinson's number, 42. The handful of players still wearing the number were allowed to keep it. So as of the film's release, only Mariano Rivera of the New York Yankees continued to wear the number 42 on a daily basis. Of course, Rivera retired after the 2013 season. And as of 2014, barring special requests or approval, no major league player will wear number 42 again.
The movie sanitizes Leo DeRocher's speech to the Dodgers on the eve of their planned strike in protest of the signing of Jackie Robinson. His actual quote was, "Don't care if the guy is yellow or black or if he has stripes like a fucking zebra. I'm manager of this team. He plays."
Real.
Alan Tudyk.
I do gotta say though, if I ever saw somebody with a zebra stripes, I would question like, how did you get those?
I ain't playing with those zebra motherfucker. No. It sounds weird, I know.
So besides that casual racism, Alan Tudyk claimed hope you guys never face anybody that had Michael Jackson's disease or
listen, I said I would wonder how they get those. Jay was just being racist.
No, zebra motherfucker. No. You ain't doing that.
Alan Tudyk claimed that he and Chadwick Boseman deliberately avoided fraternizing while filming their scenes together to better convey the animosity between Robinson and Ben Chapman.
I've heard that in different scenes.
No.
Like I've heard that before between actors.
This still happens to this day, easily.
Okay. For the scenes when Ben Chapman taunts Robinson, Alan Tudyk got into character by watching videos of street fighting before each take.
Wait, I'm confused. Say that again.
He probably watched backyard wrestling.
He had to.
To get into character?
to taunt Jackie Robinson, he had to get the character like, I don't know what video you watch where they're like, hey, nigga. I've never seen that, never like. But the fact that you did probably watch Backyard Wrestling with the old white dude with that chick, I'm pretty sure that's what that is.
Probably so.
In the movie, Branch Rickey punishes some of his rebelling players by trading them or threatening to trade them to the Pittsburgh Pirates, and that they were one of the worst teams in the National League. Coincidentally, in 2013, the year this movie came out, the same year the Pirates ended a streak of 20 straight losing seasons. 94-68, making the playoffs where they beat the Cincinnati Reds in the wildcard game, but of course they lost to the Cardinals in the division. Still though, that was amazing.
And finally, we can say this is the only movie produced by Warner Brothers that will star Chadwick Boseman.
Awesome.
Well, that was 42, the story of a true American hero, Jackie Robinson, featuring my man Hollywood Kev. Kev, thank you so much for rocking with us today, man.
Thank you guys so much. So much. I appreciate, you guys inviting me on and having this opportunity to chop it up with my guys. I thank you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so we look forward to doing another Turn My Mic Up real soon. Kev, where can they find you?
Noise Podcast. It comes out every Monday. I will say for this particular episode, we did have some technical difficulties, so that's going to come out a little bit later. But other than that, every Monday, make sure y'all follow the Noise page on Instagram. And subscribe. Subscribe, of course, to Beat Network, but make sure y'all subscribe to Back to the Classics and the Noise as well. So, just do all those things for me. Appreciate it.
All right. Dan Janef, what we got going on? Where can they find you?
You can find me on IG, Twitter, and Facebook, David A. Janef. You can also find the IG page to Back to the Classics, BTTC Podcast. Make sure you check out every Tuesday Cinema Rehab. That is our variety show that has dropped, starring Selena Sauce and Duval Brown.
Is that next Tuesday? Start next Tuesday?
It's tomorrow. Tomorrow we drop.
Oh, it's tomorrow. Oh shit! Yeah. I thought it was starting next Tuesday. Okay.
Yep, tomorrow. I've already watched the Raw taping, and no, we've already launched the logo and all of it.
Check that out.
Mm-hmm. No, and it happened quick.
I thought it was next Tuesday.
It was like a 6-week turnaround when I had the show ready to go. So yeah, make sure you check us out there. For those of you who need editing and podcasts, please make sure you reach out to us either at BTTC Podcast or check out beatnetworkonline.com. As always, if you feel like you want to see more content from our creators, if you scroll all the way down to beatnetworkonline.com, there's a little donate button. Please make sure that you click that and let us know that you want to see more content. Any contribution helps. Even if you want to do a monthly, let me know. I will set that up with you, and we will get this taken care of. But other than that, please make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. Anywhere you are, get the notifications on YouTube by clicking the little bell button that we have here, and that's all I got. Jay Alonzo, where can they find you?
You can find me on all the social media simply at official Jay Alonzo. That's Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. You talk to me and I'll talk back. The Back to the Classics Movie Talk group and a Movie Talk page is up and popping. Jump on in there, join the conversation. We have so much fun in there. Matter of fact, Dave just launched the bracket for the romantic comedy movie choices, in which my girl Anika is going ape shit about for sure. So it's good.
It's like 80 numbers in there, and at least 60 of them have at least one vote. And I'm like, I'm so proud of you guys.
Yeah, it's like you would have been so many people like, hey, you know what about this one? This one's for too. So that's pretty dope. I would say there's a lot of Gerard Butler in there, and that makes me itch. It's weird. But besides that, if you haven't done so yet, jump in there, cast your vote, make a suggestion. So you have another 24 hours to vote?
Yeah, by tomorrow at noon. So
by the time you see this,
by the time you see this, we'll be locked up. But We are looking to grow the group, so if you wish to join the group, make sure you do so. We're doing a Grow This Group challenge all throughout the month of February. However many people you decide to invite, and as long as they're accepted and I can track it back to you, please let me know, because I'm willing to pay you a $50 gift card for the person with the most invites into the group. Amazon gift card or whichever gift card you practically want. 50 of my hard-earned dollars can be in your hands. All you have to do is like, follow, subscribe, and of course invite as many people as you can to the Back to the Classics group. Also, don't forget that we also have the Facebook official page where we drop all of our links for our shows at. So please make sure you check that out.
And also, we also didn't say anything about it, but my man Danger Neff has dropped the review for The Little Things, starring Denzel Washington, which is out right now. Check it out. Let us know what you think. We have clearly different views about this movie, but it is what it is. We're here to debate. All right, that's what it is. With that being said, shout out to the hosts and the folks out there. Thank y'all for making the first episode of our Artist Showcase Black History Month so special, with a special guy, Hollywood Kev, joining us on this one. See you next week for another one. We're joined by my man Dwayne Walker of the Money Podcast on Get On Up. Cannot wait to do that one. With that being said, I am Jen Lonzo. With me, of course, is
Danger Neff.
See you folks next week, and of course, rest in heaven to King Chadwick Boseman. See y'all next week.